Hi, welcome to Nona's Here. I'm Nona, and today I am joining in Inspiration Recreation. Our hosts are Amanda from 6 Kids and a Glue Gun. I don't know how she gets anything done with crafting, and 6 kids. Charlene from Crafty Art Shack, and Kay from At Home with Kay. And the theme today is fruit and bees. Now I have to tell you, I usually don't use fruit or bees as a theme for my crafting, but I am today. It's a beautiful day in Pensacola. The water is calm, and it's the first day that we have had without a lot of wind. So I've decided to try and videotape my intro out on the balcony. The water's beautiful, the sun is shining, and the blue angels haven't started to fly yet. So I'm going to try and get this done before they start doing their flying antics because they buzz our condo. We live about less than 1.5 miles from the Naval Air Station here in Pensacola, and when they're out flying doing their maneuvers, they buzz our condo, and it's quite loud. But you still may hear some airplanes because there's other airplanes taking off. All right, so fruit and bees. Now, I missed one minor detail in the directions, and that was that we were supposed to go and find another creator who had done something with fruit and bees and try and dupe their idea. Well, I missed that direction, so I sort of just went on and did my own. But some of them are ideas that I've gotten from other creators and things that I've seen, because you know, when you watch hundreds of other crafters, you tend to just put those ideas back here in your head, and then when you have to do a craft with a certain theme, those ideas come forward. So I'll tell you where some of my ideas came from, okay? All right, let's get over to my craft table, and I'll show you my fruit crafts for this great challenge from Recreation Inspiration with Amanda from 6 Kids and a Glue Gun, Charlene from Crafty Art Shack, and Kay from At Home with Kay. Thanks. DIY number 1. So I went to the dollar store and just walked the aisles looking for some ideas, and I found this like aluminum pineapple sitting on a ledge. And last year my granddaughter got this cute birthday card with a pineapple, and when they went to toss it, I asked if I could have it because I saw a craft there somewhere. So I took the pineapple. When I brought it home and held it up against the aluminum pineapple, it fit perfectly. So I just glued it on. Then I got into my scrapbooking letters and found the words "Hi Cutie." Okay, on to DIY number 2. For this one, I got the sign from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to leave the front alone, live, love, laugh, because this will go in the church box that goes to shut-ins. All right, so I'm going to try and take off this label, and it's stuck, so I had to use some goof off. I went to Dollar Tree, and I found these little pineapples in the education department. That they're really for teachers to use on bulletin boards. Now, I used to be an educator, hadn't done bulletin boards in a long time because the last 15 years of my career I taught college, but I remember how to do bulletin boards. So I got a package of those little pineapples, and I painted the back of my sign with maize chalk paint. I did 2 coats. I did put a piece of masking tape across the bottom so I wouldn't get any paint on that ledge. So I glued one of those pineapple decor pieces on the yellow round sign, and then I got in my scrapbooking letters again and glued on "Welcome to our home." bulletin board
there are the
decor
first
item.
two DIYs of pineapples, the birthday card and sign using the bulletin board supply item. Sorry about that voiceover error. That was a technical difficulty.
By the way, if I haven't mentioned it and you haven't subscribed to Nona's Here yet, why don't you consider doing so today? Just hit that subscribe button and the bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And if at the end of the video you like this, I sure would appreciate a thumbs up. If you would do that, I would sure appreciate it. Thanks so much. Now let's get back to my crafting table.
DIY number 3. Now I am crediting Tammy from the Rusted Willow with this one. I'll include her link to her channel down below, of course along with all of our host channels too. So I got this strawberry plate at Dollar Tree along with this wonderful fruit napkins. So I brought home the napkins with the strawberry plate, and I'm going to paint it with this white chalk plaster and use Mod Podge. Now I have to tell you, Mod Podge and I and trying to decoupage do not get along. But Tammy from the Rusted Willow sent me this great tip to do one layer at a time and to let it completely dry before trying to do the next layer. Well, that Tammy is a really smart gal. So I decided to try decoupaging one more time. So I cut out big pieces and then tore off the edges and decoupaged those pieces of the fruit napkin onto my strawberry plate. Then I let it dry overnight. So you can see me decoupaging these pieces of napkin onto that plate. I just covered it with the plaster chalk paint because I thought it would be easier to make the napkins stick. Of course, I separated the napkin and only used the top layer of the napkin. So I just very carefully pasted, using the Mod Podge, the napkin onto the plate. So I let it dry overnight and it was completely dry. But when I got up, there were too many white spots and I didn't want that. So I got the napkins, separated the layers again, and then I cut out smaller pieces of the napkin, like the pineapple, the watermelon, the lemons, and the limes, and I decoupage them in all the white spots. And Tammy was right. If you let it dry, the second layer goes on so much easier. So I put the second layer on to cover all those white spots. Then I let that dry completely, and then I was ready to do a final layer of Mod Podge on top of everything so it finished it up. So if you don't know, listen to Tammy. If you're going to decoupage, let each layer dry completely before you try and put on the second layer. Okay, so I'm just putting on the first layer there, and I'm making sure it's all down. I wanted to cover the entire plate and underneath because you can see the underneath part a little bit when you set the plate down. And this will be going in my church box where the people go and visit shut-ins and people that are home recovering from surgery and that sort of thing. Okay. And then, so when it was all done, see, I covered all those white spots and the underneath is all covered real nice. So then I did use that acrylic sealer and sealed it twice. And then while it was drying, I made a little watermelon cup. So I'm going to show you exactly how I did this in the next DIY, but it was pretty simple. But honestly, the fruit plate was looking a little sad all by itself, so I wanted to add something to it. And this will go in my church box where the people go and visit shut-ins and people who are home recovering from surgery. So they will, they like to take little crafts with them just for the people. So, but this is how it looked when it was all done. And I thank Tammy for teaching me how to do decoupage. I think it came out real cute, and I appreciate her tip. Okay, on to DIY number 4, which is a no-brainer, which is making that watermelon cup. I used a little clay pot, which I'd used for something else, and so I'm going to paint the bottom green and the top red, and then make white around the top to look like the watermelon rind. And then I'm going to take the tip of a paintbrush and do the watermelon seeds. I tried painting them with the brush and I just couldn't do it, so I used the tip of a small brush, and that made watermelon seeds. If you squint your eyes and turn your head, they look like watermelon seeds. What I'm doing there is I'm just painting a white line around underneath the red to look like the rind that goes between the green covering of the watermelon and the red watermelon. Okay, so there's the plate all finished, which you've already seen. And then I'm going to show you how I put the styrofoam in the watermelon cup and stuck the beads in, which you've already seen. So hopefully I fast forwarded this like I wanted to. And I just stuck those green and red beads into the styrofoam to complete DIY 3 and 4. Okay. Come on, video, hurry up. DIY number 5. All right, for this one I went to the expensive aisle of Dollar Tree and bought this tray for $3. I forgot to show it to you before I painted it. I used this green paint. I never used it before. It's very, very textured. And the color was called Boston. So I'm going to use some red, white, and black chalk paint. And then I got this summer decor. It had watermelon coming down. So I cut off the watermelon. And this idea came because my son just had a birthday. And my sweet, sweet daughter-in-law and my 2-year-old granddaughter, they painted her hand and stamped it on a piece of paper and made it into a dinosaur and said, "Daddy, you are dynamite." Then I got to thinking, teachers, preschool teachers across the country are painting little kids' hands and stamping them on paper or on clay molds and making Mother's Day cards or Mother's Day, molds with their little hands of their kids for Mother's Day gifts or cards. So I thought, why can't I use these watermelon pieces as stamps, just like the teachers are using of the little kids' hands? Preschool teachers across the country. So I already had tried, I tried a couple practices, and this paint is real textured on that tray that I used. I didn't realize that. So I knew I had to put a pretty heavy coat of paint on the piece of watermelon to get it to make a stamp. But that's what I'm doing. So I made 2 stamps using one of the pieces of watermelon that was a half, and then there was one in the middle, one of the pieces looked like it had been a bite taken out of it. And there I'm using my Cricut brayer to really push down the piece of watermelon to make sure that there's going to be a stamp, and there was. So there's the watermelon stamps that I made on this tray. Okay, so then I took my white paint and tried to make a white covering around each watermelon piece, like the rind that is between the skin of the watermelon and the rind. And now I'm taking green paint and just making little squares to imitate the skin of the watermelon. So I have the red watermelon, the rind, and the covering, the skin of the watermelon, and then the watermelon itself. Now I have to do the watermelon seeds. Like I told you, I couldn't paint watermelon seeds to save my life. So I used this little brush, the tip of it, and I just dipped it in black paint and then dotted and kind of pulled down the tip of the brush, and that made what supposedly looks like watermelon seeds. So, I'm just a terrible painter. And so I just did that. And again, if you squint your eyes and turn your head to the side, they kind of look like watermelon seeds. So that finished the 3 stamps of watermelon. But it still needed something else. So I went again back to my scrapbooking supplies and found some small letters and stuck them above the watermelons and spelled out summer days. See, there's the watermelon seeds. You can kind of see. See, I had red letters. So I put across the top summer days. Then I took my Mod Podge and I went over the summer days like 3 times to make sure that they stuck and, wouldn't peel off. Then when that dried real well, I took my acrylic sealer once again and sprayed it twice. And there you can kind of see my stamps of watermelon. So that was an idea from preschool teachers. DIY number 6. This is the last one. So I found these little coasters at Dollar Tree. And I had these green magnets. Wasn't I lucky they were green? So this idea was from all the crafters who did refrigerator magnets, with buttons and with tumbling blocks and the little pictures that are in calendars at the back. So I took the coasters and I super glued the green magnets at the top of the coasters. Wasn't I lucky the magnets were green, because they kind of made the leaves of the pineapple green. I just glued them to the back. Once again, a no-brainer DIY. And there were 4 coasters in a pack, so I made 4 refrigerator magnets. And that is my fruit theme recreation inspiration. Thanks so much for watching. Tell me which one of mine were your favorites. And I hope to see you again at Nona's Here. Bye.